I want to talk about life and business. And this was a lesson taught to me by Jim Rohn. If you don't know Jim Rohn, he's the godfather of personal development. He was one of the biggest mentors and influences on my life. And one of the things he said is that life and business are like the seasons. And I want to slow down with you and really let this piece sink into your heart, okay? And what I mean by your heart, I mean literally sink into something that's really, really meaningful. That life and business are like the seasons. So what did he mean? So I went to ChatGPT and I wanted to draw a picture of what the seasons would look like in the evolution of these things, right? And gosh, I love ChatGPT and how this works. And so really what you see here is this evolution, starting over here in the wintertime and then moving our way into spring, summer, and then fall. And so as we look at this thing, if we know life and business are like the seasons, then we know, okay, well, what do we know about the seasons? Well, we know that they're predictable. They are in a cyclical nature. And if I can understand how life and business are like the seasons, and if I understand the seasons, maybe I can understand life a little bit better. And so that's what I want to talk about. Perfect. There we go. So here we have spring, or let's go winter in the bottom corner. Let's start over here with winter. Okay. What do we know about winter? Well, we know winter's hard. We know winter's slower. If we think about the winter of our business, people aren't buying as much. And what do bears do and animals do in the winter? They hibernate. And so what do typically people do in the wintertime? They slow down and they hibernate. And Jim Rohn asked this great question and kind of this insight that gave me. He goes, well, if everyone's hibernating, what a great time to grow while others are sleeping. And what an opportunity to do big things while everyone's got their eye off the ball. Talk about a philosophy shift or a frame shift. And so 3 things that he came up with when it comes to the wintertime. He said, this is a time to get better, stronger, and wiser. So wherever you are in your life right now, this would be a winter activity. So we know that better, stronger, and wiser are the things that I'm trying to create. So what are you doing here today? Well, this is a time for you to get better, stronger, and wiser. How many of you can just think of people that say, man, I wish they were on this call. I wish so-and-so was on this call. I wish so-and-so, I wish. I appreciate that, but you're here. And so now, the fact that we're here and your competitors are not, guess what you're getting? Better, stronger, wiser. And so this is what this is about. And so for me, the winter, but what's hard, like it's so cool to think about it. It's like better, stronger, and wiser. But man, when we're in the winter, we're cold, we're shivering, we're scared. When's the next commission coming? When's the next sale coming? Am I making the right decision? Maybe it's health. Maybe there's something wrong with health. Maybe there's something wrong with relationships and finances. Whatever it is, the winter is hard. But for me, the thing that I had to remember is, okay, this is the time for me to get better, stronger, and wiser. And that thought process too is like, man, what a great time to grow, an opportunity to grow while others are sleeping. So what comes after winter? We get the spring. And now, what is the time of spring? The spring, that's a time of opportunity. Because what happens? The winter's going away, and this is the time that we actually have to plant seeds. And so this is the time to plant. And when we think about planting, say, okay, well, where did you get your seed? Where did you get your seed? Well, the seed, in essence, from this story, comes from whatever you put in your brain in the winter. If you got bad seed, guess what's going to happen? Not much. If you go out there and now here's another thing to think about the springtime. What's the job? Here's the thing. It's a time of no entitlement. No entitlement. That says entitlement. Because here's the thing. Just because the spring shows up, which by the way, it shows up for everyone, does not mean you're going to look good in the fall. Think about that for a minute. The fall is reserved for those who work really hard. Work hard in the spring. And what do I mean by that? Well, you know the story of the sower. He goes out there, he's got bad seed, he plants bad seed, nothing happens. He goes out and gets better seed, and he just throws it out there by the wayside, and the birds come in and eat it. Okay, well, then he had to realize that I got to take that seed, press it into the soil. Sweat, hard, blood. It's hard. Now, he planted it in bad soil. Doesn't work. Can you plant a seed in cement? No, so you got to go out and find fertile soil, people that are wanting all that stuff. So there's a lot of great philosophy over the story. But here's the thing. To me, it's about hard work. I got to make the phone calls. I got to nurture the relationships. I got to do all the things that maybe others are unwilling to do. And if I got better, stronger, and wiser, but if you didn't work hard in the winter, you don't have much to plant in the spring. Does that make sense? And so we've got to take ownership of what's going on. And so then once we plant those seeds, now we have summer, right? What do we do in the summertime? Vacation time, right? Is it vacation time? Well, that's what everyone else does. What are we going to do? Well, in the summer, we have to protect. Protect what? We have to protect what we planted. Because guess what? There's people like me in your marketplace. People that understand that some people take their eye off the ball. Some people that know that customers aren't being taken care of. I've made a living eating out of other people's bowls. What do I mean by that? If you're not paying attention to your customer, I will. Happy to pay attention to your customer for you. And if you're not asking for the deal, if you're not having speed to lead in your environment right now, guess what? Imagine you getting a lead and waiting a couple days to call them. And in between those couple of leads. So here we've planted all this great stuff, but most people want to take a vacation. But here's the time that we have to protect. And the hardest part about this is that everyone's out having fun and we're out there protecting. What are we going to do? And so this is really, again, one of those places where I can tell my kids all the time, when you do the things that most are unwilling to do, soon will come a time that you can do things that most are unable to do. That's the job of the summer. So now we've got winter, better, stronger, and wiser. Spring, time to work hard, plant those seeds, no entitlement. And then the summer is to protect and nurture what you've done. You got to water the plants, because if you don't, the sun's going to come out. You also got to watch out for the weeds, right? How often you got to weed your garden? You ever had a garden? Daily. They don't go away. They just don't. And finally, we get to the fall, the harvest time. And everyone's like, yes, it's the fall. Well, yes, if what? You planted good seed. You did it well in the right fertile soil. You protected in the summer. Now, here is the time where we take ownership over what's happening. That's what it says, ownership. I promise you. So now we're in the fall, where here's the thing. When you think about this fall and if you don't like what happens in the fall, the crop, who do you blame? Person who planted it. This is the time of taking ownership. And one of my favorite quotes that he said, he goes, Renee, if you take full responsibility for your failures, then when you succeed, you don't have to apologize for your success. If you take full responsibility for failures, then you don't have to apologize for your successes, because you owned it. You own the good and you own the bad. And I can't express to you how important it is to take full ownership, because if my life depends on someone else to make a change, someone else to do something good, I'm out of luck. It's not going to happen, because the likelihood of me trying to change someone else is just not happening. And so this is the time to truly understand. And the biggest piece is you have two options in this. This is what I really want you, two options. You either have to plant here. You have to plant in the spring, or you're going to beg in the fall. We don't want to beg. Either plant in the spring or beg in the fall. That's the only two options you have. And when I look at things binary like that, I go, I don't want to beg. I need to plant. Now, here's another piece. I have gone through winter, spring, summer, fall in a day. I can be in the winter in certain parts of my life, in the summer in other parts of my life, in the fall in other parts of my life. So I want you to think about this as a philosophy, because I want you to have your best year. But for that, we have to be ready for it. We have to be ready for some suffering and some sacrifice and some discipline and the difficulties, because that is the beauty of life. It's about how we approach it. And I want to give you the tools, the mental mindset tools. And some of those tools are just a story and a metaphor away.